Faraday Future, man. When I'm on a roller coaster, I get nauseous, and I think I'm getting nauseous from the roller coaster that is the Faraday Future. I'll walk you back in time in a second, but it looks like they're in trouble again. They're not laying off people yet, but they are cutting salaries. They're still late with payments to their suppliers, and this time around, man, I think this might just be it. I do think there's one thing that can save him. I'll tell you about it as well. Um, so you know, we joke around. This Faraday Future has a future, and it's all very cute and stuff like that. But at this time, I really think that it might just be it. So here's what happened. As you know, they've unveiled their car in 2016. It was a really hot new commodity. That's before all of the other startups, and it was a really exciting thing. And they started making the car. They said they were gonna start making car in a factory, but they started bleeding money really quick, and then they kind of ended up almost bankrupt with no money. And their CEO I mean JY, I don't know why I say YT. Because YouTube, maybe that's why. JY. He is kind of known in China, and he's blacklisted in China as far as doing business because he borrowed a lot of this money. He did some manipulations, never paid them back. So he's kind of on a credit bad list in China. He lives now here in California. He doesn't go back to China because I think he's also like a no-fly list. I mean, this guy has really screwed a lot of people over in China. And there was also a big bad breakup with the CFO of the company. It was just a mess, right? So it looked like the company was just gonna die in like a late December, right? So 10 months ago, all of a sudden they announced that they found a new investor. They're going to put a lot of money into it, and indeed, they got a commitment of $2 billion from Evergrande, the Chinese company, a Chinese-based company, which I thought at that time, and they kept the CEO, right? This JY guy, who's been kind of the reason why everything was mismanaged, or at least that's what the reports are saying, and they kept him as a CEO. Well, guess what? About a month ago, yeah. So things started to really go, positively in the green. They hired people. They held a summit for their suppliers. They started, they started, making prototypes in their production facilities. They just came up with their official first production prototype, for the official tests. So it was a big deal, and they were basically saying they're on par, on track, on schedule, to produce their first production car by the end of the year. And people were starting like, oh wow, Faraday Future is really turning out, and maybe this is a second chance for their CEO. Well, no. What is it, 2 3 weeks ago? Apparently they had a kind of almost a breakup with their investor because they burned through the first, I think, 800 million or 700 million of the first injection of money, and then they came back and asked for more. And the investor was like, wait, no, you haven't hit all the benchmarks. You were supposed to have the first car already produced, so no. And that's how the dispute started, because Faraday Future has said, we want another $700 million, and the investor said no. And now basically they're dying again because there's no more money. They've completely drained out their bank account. It looks like way. Not really sure why this came up when they have like zero balance in the bank account, not when they had maybe $100 or $200 million left, and they could have renegotiated or contacted the investor. Sometimes investors do get involved. Sometimes they are strategic partners, and they can help. It seems like none of that happened, and so these guys are in trouble. So let me tell you what I think is going to happen from now on. And before I do that, of course, let me remind you that this channel and this show is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla, the car that I believe is in production now. Yeah, there's a discount code in the description of this video, so you can save yourselves a few bucks. All right, so here's what I think is going to happen. They either actually just going to die as they were going to, last year, and because they're just dying, they're suffocating, there's no money. They've cut it looks like they cut their salaries of hourly employees by 20%. The CEO and some of the senior staff. So JY, the CEO, actually basically forfeits his salary from now on voluntarily, and some of the executives are taking 20 or more percent of pay cuts, but it looks like they're in a bad shape. So I think it's going to happen is this: either the investors, the Evergrande, you just barge in, fire the guy, put someone else in, and do inject it with one more time, last chance kind of money, because they are really close to production, or the company is going to die, file for bankruptcy, and a company that's behind on electric car technology like Ford or Toyota or maybe Honda just basically buy them out and kind of incorporate them as an electric car division. So that's what I think, but I know you guys have some ideas as well, and I would go ahead and put them in the comment section. That's why there's a comment section. And let me give a shout out to one of the new Patreons, Phil Isler became a Patreon today. Thank you so much for supporting the show. That's extremely important to somebody like me who just went full time doing this. And I'm hoping I'm delivering more than I ever was. Not hoping, I think I am. 3 videos a day. It's pretty good, I think. More than any other YouTuber I really know. Let me know if there's somebody making more than that. But most importantly, I think the quality of the channel is also gone up. So thank you for supporting me. Of course, you get your own perks for that. You can watch me live. You get to watch me in a segment that we call the Extra Mile. This is just specifically the live stream portion of it for Patreons. I post some exclusive pictures, of course, and a much better access. I never not replied to a Patreon ever, and that's kind of one of the perks as well. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time, and remember, and you can remember because it says right here on my t-shirt, and remember to stay charged.